Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Talking Shit with your boy Sophisticated Jerkin. Today I wanted to go over this like news clipping that I seen, and they're down there in Arizona. They were talking about corporations laying off thousands of workers, and they're kind of talking about some of the impacts of that. And typically in the fourth quarter, there's always some layoffs, but when I was looking at the list of the companies and the sheer numbers of it, it's looking a lot larger than normal. So it had me thinking. It's like, as consumers, and we live in a consumer driven economy, do we have to kind of like rethink how we do our shopping? Because I know we got kind of addicted to convenience, ordering everything online versus going to retail. Like the malls, I know were decimated because of our change in habits and stuff. So it's just like, do we kind of refocus on the companies that are not going all AI and doing massive layoffs, and they are kind of still pumping into their workforce? So it just had me thinking with that. It's like, hey, is there anything we could do on our end, versus kind of always just, being reactive to everything, where it's like, hey, maybe we just go back to going back outside and supporting the stores and the shops around us. And maybe that could help create some of these jobs and stuff. Our protectionism, pumping our money into the companies that are, still doing workforce development, hiring people and stuff like that. So it's just a thought. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. But let me go ahead and pull up this clip because, I always kind of be wondering about some of this stuff.
Especially before the holidays, how the job market is looking. This is a list that we have started to compile pretty soon here. It should show up on the screen. I do hope that it does. There it is. Here we go. Okay, so UPS, we have learned, laying off 48,000 workers. That is what the biggest layoff that we have seen so far. Amazon, 14,000. That has to do with AI. Microsoft, 6,000. Target, 1,800. General Motors, 1,700. And then Intel, we have that in town.
So let me stop real quick. So just looking at those numbers, that's what I was saying. I'm like, damn, UPS, 48,000. Amazon, 14. And they said that was with AI. Microsoft, 6,000. Target 1,800, General Motors 1,700, Intel 15% workforce reduction. They was like, we ain't about to release them numbers. But that's why if you're going back to Amazon, 14,000, and they said that was like due to AI. And like I said, is it because, us as consumers, we just focus too much, like I said, on the convenience where I don't see like Walmart on the list. I don't know if they're laying off, but it's just like, hey, do we start, putting our money behind like the businesses that, like I said, are not doing the AI push? And don't get me wrong, I know most businesses gotta, make themselves efficient and make some money. But I'm just saying, hey, is there a change of practice that we could do? Because you think about it, this is a lot of, layoffs around the same time. And then it's just like, okay, if, all these people lose their job, in a consumer driven, economy, they're not going to be spending a lot of money out there besides, the necessities. So that's going to start, it can have a cascading effect where it's like impacting other businesses and stuff. So I just think sometimes, we don't pause and think about all this stuff. And it's like, hey, what can we do on our end versus, be proactive versus being reactive on all this stuff.
As well, 15% of the workforce reduced. That is the recent list of companies laying off. And analysts say the reasons as to why sort of differ. Some companies have pointed to rising operational costs from tariffs. Consumers also buying less product too. Artificial intelligence is another catalyst for job cuts nationwide. We wanted to know how the job market is looking here in Arizona. We spoke with market analyst Fletcher Wilcox. He says the state does have 38,000 more people working this year compared to last year. He is optimistic about the state of the economy here in Arizona.
I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for frontline workers, blue collar workers, people that have a specialized trade, something like that. And what we're really seeing is the biggest growth year over year is in healthcare.
Let me pause right there. So I like what he kind of mentioned, because that's what I know people have been talking about it. But yeah, trades is definitely becoming, I'll say, a lot sexier. I know back in the day, people wanted the white collar jobs and all that. And, even a lot of people look down on blue collar. But it seems like, hey, that's where if you want some stable jobs, definitely start looking into that. And then also healthcare is definitely always solid. So, you know, even my son, he's going into healthcare. We're like, look, that's stable. Go that path. So I think parents, you know, if you got kids wanting to go to college and they're not going into a field that has a strong like career forecast, you need to start letting them know like, hey, here's some of these other paths you need to consider and stuff. Because yeah, like with all these job losses, it's going to be hard for people to, you know, throw their name in that arena and try to get them jobs because there's a lot of people out there looking.
Of companies and the reasons why on azfamily.com. And I believe we're going to pull up a website here that's going to show some local layoffs. Let's see if we could get that pulled up. Let's see. All right, well, we're still waiting on that information. We'll put that on azfamily.com as well. Scott and Tess, there's 3 companies that I'm looking at right now that have announced layoffs in October alone, and
they need to fire that tech person that's working up there. That screen ain't come off. It just stuck on that company layoffs. He was like, I like how he pivoted though. He was like, all right, you know what? Let me keep it moving. So that was pretty slick.
Have to report these layoffs through the WARN Act. So in total, around 363 jobs spread across 3 different companies here in Arizona. So again, no one's immune to this change in economic climate. And of course, you know, AI is playing a big role.
Yeah, that is true. All right.
And you know, it's a tough time as we move into the holidays.
All right, David, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that's, I just wanted to show the video because like I said, I've been seeing like single videos coming out with like different layoffs. So this one kind of captured all the layoffs in one. So that's why I was like, let me just play this one. And then, like I said, I was just thinking about it. I was like, man, is there something like we need to start doing on our end? Like, you know, protectionism as far as like supporting American made companies, or do we need to change our consumer habits, you know, to make sure that we're keeping jobs around? Because like I said, that AI push looks like it's going to be the thing in the future where like companies are going to start embracing that. So it's like, hey, what can we do to make sure we support the ones that ain't trying to go, you know, full-fledged with AI and stuff. But all right, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm definitely trying to hear some different things that people seeing, or shit, are we just like overreacting to what we're hearing? Please let me know in the comments. All right, y'all, bye.
Many